literally anyone else. Hello? I don't know who you are or how you have my address, but...
Hello, Meredith. It's, been some time.
Jay?
Meredith.
Okay, well now I know I'm dreaming. You're
I
not here. You got trapped in...
Yeah. I assure you, no dream. About as real as they come. Go on, take a seat.
In that case, we have a lot to talk about.
That we do. I have been, walking around, checking in on things, checking in on people, trying to get a sense of the whole story about what's been going on for the last month and a bit. And, you've always held that head on your shoulders pretty well. And what I hear is that you've been doing quite a lot behind the scenes.
Well, someone has to.
Well, I would, if I could. And I'm here to join you. Help you, you help me, however you want to look at it. I want in on whatever you're wanting to do. And what you've done so far. So you want in on
part of the rebellion?
Me and the others.
Is it everyone's
especially.
Out?
So, yes. There were some bumps along the way. Are you familiar with anything in the End or Asphodel or any of the other floating cities out there?
I think MBS led us there once when the followers were attacking.
MBS is alive, and the others.
No shit.
We hit no, we made it out.
MBS is alive.
MBS, there, Simon, Ven. There was an accident along the way.
What do you mean an accident?
Things got a little heated once we actually made it out of the hole of Asphodel. We, got some new outfits going. We got some supplies. There, and MBS showed us this route through this portal. If you threw those Enderman things that they drop, the Ender Pearls, throw them through the thing, and then you just...
pearls.
Right. There was this weird object in which you throw a pearl through it, and it teleports you to a new spot. Once we landed in this new spot, we walked for a while. Things got a little heated, and there pushed a Sidoni into the void.
Why? I mean, not that I know anything about Acidoni. I've heard the name a couple of times, but why?
Acidoni's a relatively nice person. He never gave me anything to worry about or be upset at. He's a Nether war chief. He lives in the Nether. But he wasn't being very enthusiastic, or at least supportive of us. And I don't know if he said the wrong thing or there just was upset. But Ace was, upset. Just thinking about everything we'd been through. So there took advantage of them and pushed them into the void.
So there killed MBS and also pushed the edge.
Yeah, but turns out there and MBS were always friends. It was staged. The whole thing at the debate, where you were security and I was on the stand. It was all one big ruse, just so MBS could get his payout, and there could not have a reason to be as friendly or as nice to the rest of us. Really, no matter what way he paints the picture, that's what happened. There's a lot that we haven't been able to tell you ever since we accepted that fucking invitation to dinner.
Yeah, no shit.
Everything came out into the open.
You haven't heard about my greatest accomplishment yet. I got Asher. I fucking got him, Jay.
What do you mean you got him?
I struck him down in his own office.
I heard about that. J Enterprises turning into C Enterprises, and he has an office in there. Is it my office?
Oh, he took over your office. Felt so good to kill him in there. After everything that he did.
So he's dead.
As of a few nights ago, I believe. Yes.
I spoke with Melody. Melody said this either happened yesterday or today or something like that.
I don't know. I've been so caught up in the moment that I don't know.
Let's say it was
Time.
today that you did that.
It was today then.
I have been back since yesterday. It's about past midnight now, or almost. I actually don't know. I don't have my clock on me. The point
It
being,
would seem.
I got here on the 2nd. That's when we arrived. And we disappeared over a month ago. I'd say about a month and a week ago, let's say. And while you're in Asphodel, the End, the cities in between, you cannot sleep. So, that was painful. We went a whole
That
month
sounds
without sleep.
terrible.
I managed to get a good few hours of sleep in, but the kinds of shit you see out there, it was strange. So let me take you back real quick, okay? I'll paint a picture.
Okay.
I'm in my
Paint a
cell.
picture, and then you paint a picture, and then I'll paint you a picture.
Okay.
There's stuff up here that has happened too.
Yeah, of course. Start of August. I don't have a perfect day for you. I'd say it was just early August. I was let out of my cell because the night before I had a good few visitors, and the last few of them being Asher and Moss, YB, Melody came by, a few others, Simon, Sesby. But towards the end, I received an invitation to that dinner. And just the next day, or 2 days later, I don't even know. Time down there was worse than it was in the end, I promise you. But JD and YB helped get me out. They took me home so I could get changed. Melody was there. Melody had seen me, come home after being in a cell just to go change and go back out. Even on the way there, Meridith, we knew that Asher and Moss had something to do with it. That at least they were invited. We didn't know that they orchestrated it. So YB, Simon, and I, yes?
I think YB thought that something would happen too. The night before, he told me to look after the town if anything happened.
YB did say something about you. No, I cannot remember. It was literally a month ago. It's just crazy to think. So we made it to Asphodel, the three of us, and when we got there, we were seen by MBS, and eventually there was there, and then from Evergreen, and Ace showed up too. We all realized we were all
Then
given
the one that asks a lot of questions.
Yeah, he's from the underground. I get it. He's never struck me as a bad guy.
No,
I was upset at him for something, but so we all showed up there at the dinner table there in Asphodel, and we were all pointing fingers at each other. We all found out that we all had something to do with something. That I killed Sharma. Well, Hollow was the one that really did the final blow. However, I orchestrated that. We found out that MBS and there were buddy all along, and that what I just told you, the debate was a ploy just to get MBS's payout, and for there just to go into this weird hiding era. And then Ven was actually working with the followers for a time. He was working with the followers right up until the election, probably the day of. The day, Lucky was killed and Richie was taken into custody. And don't get me wrong, he wasn't the one to kill anyone. He wasn't giving out people's locations to kill them in their sleep. No. He was simply just trying to get on JD's good side so that JD would consider the idea of moving Sharma to a prison cell in New Evergreen, making Ven in charge of Richie, so then Richie would, be freed.
I get it.
But we didn't know that the followers were a part of that. Anyway, there was just a bunch of shit in our faces, and worst part of all is that we were all led there, and MBS was lied to. We thought MBS was behind it and that he was the real antagonist behind it, but no. Asher and Moss literally crashed from the ceiling and, put a stop to it. Asher killed JD, Moss killed YB. And it was just the 6 of us in that room. And the final thing about it was that my good friend, Dr. Jappel, I assume you know him now, I've heard that you've been collaborating with him.
Of course.
He was blackmailed into creating a device, an EMP, that would detonate in Asphodel once they put us in that hole that was in the middle of Asphodel. By igniting the thing, the EMP, it blew up all the main portals back home, but they ignited it after Jappel, Asher, and Moss escaped. So we're stuck in the hole. This EMP goes off, the portals close, all the surrounding shit goes. The Endermen, all of a sudden, all disappear, and Simon's knocked on his ass because cybernetic enhancements.
Right.
He didn't suffer greatly, but the fact that he couldn't sleep and that he was very wobbly and that at his top.
Probably still
very
suffering.
Hard. I'll get to that. So fast forward a bit, we finally made our way out of the pit. Angry at each other. We all, separated. We all talked on our own. We made it out of Asphodel. There pushed an ace. And for a whole 4 weeks, Meridith, we traversed the end. Just seeing all these different biomes.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you repeat how? I'm sorry, I'm not following. How did you get out of the hole?
Out of the pit? Oh,
out of the pit. Yes.
There were like these weird logs of wood, kind of lodged into the walls, some sort of security measure, and combine that with just for some reason having water buckets on him and other building blocks, we were just able to craft our way out.
Huh.
It took some time. And yeah, well, he didn't say anything about it. He just decided to mope around for 3 days straight until he decided to even speak up. But, once we ran out of food, I guess he and the others realized that things were getting dire. We were starving. But once we got out of the pit, we just got some resources. It wasn't like Asher and Moss actually cleared out the place. They didn't even think we'd get out of the hole. So, for 4 weeks, we traversed, the outside cities of Asphodel. I don't know how close we were, how far away we were, but we just kept finding all these biomes and setting up, little campfires just to rest, because we couldn't sleep. We literally could not rest. We only kind of fall asleep. We could, sit down. But eventually, after a long journey, we came across a city called Acorus. And this place was seemingly abandoned. It looked like it had a castle, little residence homes, towers, little buildings. You get the picture. When we made it into the castle, mansion, whatever it was called, Sesby was lying there half dead. They were bleeding from the side, by their lower left abdomen. Or was it their right? I don't even know. And they were just laying there. They were laying there, and we were asking them what happened and how they got here, of all places. And they said that something happened to them and that Asher had an involvement. And
I can actually clear this one up. I was there for that. There was, at some point, Asher and Moss threw this big gala. There's a ballroom now, and whatever. It was like a masquerade. And so we all showed up, and Asher threw some, I don't know, it wasn't maybe it was a wedding ceremony or something. I don't know. Something between him and Moss. And I openly criticized him because that was really poorly planned. And I wanted to get on his nerves. I wanted to just push him just a little bit. I wanted some reason to... I just wanted some kind of conflict. And he freaked out and took it out on Sesby. And, well, when Asher gets his hands on someone, they usually don't make it out.
Mm-hmm.
But you said that you found Sesby in this castle
That's right.
after he was killed.
Sesby's. Yep, they were laying there in their own blood, half dead, just unconscious on the floor. The Ven was the one that actually walked ahead and actually saw them laying there, called back to us, and we rushed over. You know, Simon and they are very close with Sesby. I admit that maybe Sesby and I were a little less than friends after our last encounter here in Marigold before the dinner, but, you know, it still hurt to see them like that.
Okay. Why this random castle?
Couldn't tell you. We walked for so long, we just saw like random structures, you know, these weird, like, they're called like chorus vines, trees, whatever. I don't know what the fuck they're called. They had like fruits on them and shit. We saw like these castles, like towers with like ships and shit, but no signs of life, no Enderman, no nothing. And even in this place of a chorus, no life, just Sesby. We couldn't really put it together. Well, that's not too honest. There were books and pictures and stuff, but it looked like Sesby had lived there. I don't know what it meant, but Sesby must have had a life before Marigold.
Lived there?
Right. How Sesby left that place and got there with no memory of how they left nor how they even got to home is the biggest mystery of them all.
Classic case of amnesia, huh?
It's a double-edged amnesia. They couldn't remember how they got there, they couldn't remember how they left, they couldn't remember how they left their castle, they couldn't remember how they left Marigold. They just know that they were injured and hurt on the floor, surrounded by people that they could hardly recognize. Which, to be honest, we showed up in new outfits by then and called that, but something was wrong.
That's crazy.
So we looked around for a while. They kind of like blindly shown us around without knowing exactly where they were going themselves, but they made a pretty horrifying discovery, which I never thought I'd ever see. And, you know, within a few feet of me is a pair of detached wings. As if somebody had ripped the wings off of Sesby's back and put it into a box.
Wait, Sesby has wings?
Sesby didn't let us inspect it for ourselves, but it looked like these wings had a spot on their back, like a little like piece on their back, like they literally just yanked it off. Like we didn't hold it to their back or anything, but yeah, vile shit. Sesby couldn't know what to say. We didn't know what to say. Can you imagine being led through a house that, you know, this person's showing you through, but they don't even know it?
I don't like the thought.
It wasn't pretty. So we kept looking around, saw these books, saw some poems. We solved the puzzle, and the puzzle actually opened up a door to a basement. And in the basement was this very well-crafted, put-together, even, hallway, which had a portal at the end. A portal that would take us home. You know, the same like the one that, you know, was in those strongholds, or even one that, you know, was in Asphodel. So we knew we had our ticket home. We all went in one by one, and when we made it through, we were in Sesby's cave home. You know, just a little outside of Marigold by the docks. Not the dock where J Enterprises is, the other one. Something like the swamps.
Right.
So we we were in Sesby's cave home. We walked up to the caves, and there we were, in the middle of a swamp. We were just hit with the swamp water, but there we saw it. It was Marigold. Just the Mojave Tower had crumbled over, and
Asher.
Ace Adoni's cat was just sitting there on a lily pad, as if it was waiting for him.
Ugh.
And we looked around, and we made sure we knew where to go. I suggested just, you know, going off into the woods, you know, away from Marigold. And then we turned back to Sesby, and Sesby just went, "Who are you people?" As if Sesby didn't have enough amnesia in that mansion, they don't remember anything now. They don't remember who they were. They don't even remember who they were in Marigold. They don't even remember you or me, or Simon, or there.
I'm sorry. Do they not remember everything. So they had amnesia the first time, and then they died, and they got another batch of amnesia, and then a third batch when getting back here.
Something has to do with them dying and being in that area. But when we went to the portal, that's when it seemed to be they had no idea who any of us were at all. Not even like vague memories as they claimed they were.
So they don't remember anything that happened in the castle.
Now, yeah, like as of now, yeah.
Triple memory loss.
Yep. It was like very skewed amnesia where they could look us in the eyes and be like, "Oh, you do remind me of someone." And then I think Sesby even said my name and Simon's. But then when we surfaced in Marigold Swamp, nothing. I honestly didn't believe that they willingly came along with us, but Simon and Dare just kind of insisted. And then we found ourselves a home in the caves. Got a little campfire going, went for some supplies, just scavenged. I couldn't find much. I don't have my sword. I think it's still at the prison or something. An iron shovel. I don't have much. And, well, after a little bit, Thayer took off. He didn't like the fact that we still looked at him wrong for killing Asadoni, which I'll admit it was a big loss to not have him on the team because we were all dedicated to coming back to you, to everyone else who wanted to see the end of Asher, and Moss for that matter. Because I do owe Moss a death. I did promise him that. And, I owe it to Asher too.
Do you know what happened with Moss?
No. What happened with Moss?
Well, all right. I guess it's time for me to paint a picture.
Sure.
So, with everyone gone, I'll admit I took a few days until I finally remembered, like, hey, I should probably go back into town. And when I got back, everything was different. That being said, I gathered what all happened, and I put together a little team. First, it was just Anna, but after that, it was Melody and Sarah living off in the woods, over by the prison, I think. And eventually, I got Puffer on the team,
I heard something like that.
and Chapel, of course.
Mm.
But we put together this plan to, well, Asher and Moss they're a force to be reckoned with. I mean, even just one-on-one. But when they're both together, it would be annoying to have to deal with them both at the same time. So we devised a little bit of a plan. Or I guess rather, well, we pretended to be the followers. Let me rephrase. We went undercover and made it seem as though the followers had resurfaced. And being that the followers knew where Devilstown was, we thought it was only natural to threaten Devilstown, its very existence, and use that to separate the two. And it worked. Moss left to go and figure out what was happening with Devilstown. Honestly, I don't know what happened with Moss after that. After Moss disappeared through the portal, well, You'll find it ironic, but we broke the portals behind him. And all of the portals throughout town, frankly. And then I went and spoke to Asher. Asher told me where Wybie supposedly was.
Mm-hmm.
But then I went and looked, and Wybie wasn't there. So, I mean, if you were already here, you might have heard the... If you did, that was me.
No, I knew about a little parts of the plan, but everything after you supposedly left them a threat for Devilstown is new to me, because that's something you did on your own. I know Melody had her part to play, and I know Zara had a part to play in, but what I needed to know was yours. But, very convincing. I will say good job, if you managed to separate the two.
Thank you. That being said, in a fit of rage, I went back to Ash. We talked, and then I fucking killed him. I mean, there's not a whole lot more after that. That was, as we've agreed to say, yesterday.
Right. So is that it? Is he dead? For real?
I don't know. It seems like nobody ever actually stays dead around here.
I heard Rob was publicly executed.
Yeah, that happened.
Now, let me tell you a little something. Happened a little bit before I disappeared into Asphodel. Melody and I, the day after the debate, since, Rob kind of went missing halfway through, Melody and I decided to pay a trip to San Jose to go check in on Rob because, it was the day after, MBS was killed by there. We wanted to see what he, thought about the whole thing. And as I'm talking to him outside of his own home in San Jose, he is shot and killed right in front of me. Just the thing is that when he died, he turned into a puff of smoke, like you normally see, like monsters or other humans do. But he didn't drop his head. Now, obviously, we know he just came back after he was killed by Lucky. Jazz apparently is her real name. I haven't encountered her ghost, but I
Really?
do.
Huh.
I do know that's a thing. But so I know Rob came back after that, so that's 2 times he had died. Melody tells me last night when I visited that Rob's head did drop when he was executed on that stand outside of J Enterprises near my home. I know Wybie has killed Asher in the past, and you killed Asher today, yesterday, whenever it was.
He didn't drop his head.
So that means he's still alive.
So it would seem.
Very. That means we just have to kill him one more time.
Easier said than done, but we'll manage.
Speaking of will,
yeah, it's not that hard.
if it's all right with you, I'd like to have my fun with this one, considering you've killed him once.
Sure. How many times has Moss been killed?
I haven't heard of anyone being killed or being. Yeah, Moss I've not heard has died. At least not here in Marigold. Whether they've died in the past before Marigold or sometime that we don't know about is unknown to me.
No, it'd be kind of nice to
Kill Moss?
make a little public scene of it. Like,
That
oh,
is...
you killed my brother! Because
If
apparently
only
we
you...
do theatrics.
Yeah, if only you were there to see what Moss said before killing your sister. Sorry, your brother. Then you would have known theatrics. Moss did a whole speech before killing YB. And I can only imagine if it was you sitting there instead of me, your sister.
Yeah.
But I will say, the last thing I did say to Moss is that I promised I would kill him. So if I do manage to kill Asher, then I'll extend that hand and kill Moss as well. Or kill Moss first, then Asher. But as you can see, I've been living out in the woods here for the last 2 days now, and I've done it before in the past. That is one of the ways you met me.
Yeah, this is very reminiscent.
Think of it as a first time again. Wink. Anyway. So I assume Moss is still in Devil's Town.
Haven't heard anything that would imply otherwise.
I never...
Sorry, I just remembered. I called Asher a test tube baby.
You ever see the test tubes?
No.
They are in fact real. Maybe you didn't know about that little factoid. Asher was kidnapped a little under a month before I disappeared by his father and his gang of mob bosses, crime people, criminals, that kind of deal. And Asher was put through a series of events. They call it the trials. He supposedly traversed room from room, and they were just abusing him every time. And the only way to progress through each room was to kill some of these crime lords, crime bosses, whatever. I was finishing up talking with Sharma, of all people, when I had bumped into Japple, and then I bumped into Melody and YB, and then Moss. And the five of us all walked, and we found out first what happened to Asher and where Asher could be. No, that's not how it went. God, it has been some time. No, we knew. I didn't do anything about it. I'm sure you would have done the same if you knew Asher Wisp was just taken and being taken care of elsewhere without having to lift a finger yourself. But we didn't do anything about it. But Moss came back from a trip from Devil's Town, looking over it or whatever. And when he found out, then we kind of all made sure we weren't assholes and went along to go save Asher Wisp. And when we got there, he was like Sesby in that mansion, half dead, half crying, going into dramatics, into this whole freak-out episode. But it looked like his dad was able to clone himself and to clone other Ashers. They were all in test tubes. So I find that very funny that you called him that. Because if I called him that, maybe I would have stuck around a little longer and, could have been able to fight him before the rest of you had to do it yourselves.
Huh.
But that is something I witnessed. I even went to go visit him in the hospital the day after. And I had the chance to kill him. But stupid
I'm not
me,
surprised.
I didn't.
I'm not surprised he's so...
You're not surprised in what?
I'm not surprised that he's so fucked up.
There's many things wrong with him. And maybe we'd be doing him a favor if we take care of him. Make sure he doesn't hurt anyone else. That is here what I'm here. That is why I'm here to talk to you. First off, to check in. Hear your side of the story. You hear
Right.
mine.
Been a while.
And yes, it has. And then we can both mutually agree to work together on killing those two.
Sure.
Now, you've had your fun. When they return to Marigold, because assuming that there's no actual real threat there, they will. Oh no, that's right. Melody said that there was TNT planted there. So when they deal with that mess, and they come back home, I will wait, and I will lurk, and I will take care of them. Whichever one dies first, then the other. I'll do it.
It'll allow me to be a distraction. Whether that be just being another body there, so that way you're not being ganged up on.
If Moss somehow comes into contact with Asher before any of this happens, Moss will know what you did to Asher. So I think it's best you either keep to the sidelines like myself, or just go all in.
Clearly you don't know me if you think that I'm going to be on the sidelines.
I was hoping you'd say that.
I'll let you have your fun, but I'm going to be involved.
Please do. I'd love to have you come aboard. As for other colleagues, it's funny to call them that, theirs taken off, and, as I've said, he's unpredictable. He's a loose cannon. I don't know where he's gone. If he's left Marigold and abandoned everything he's ever cared about, or if he went straight for Asher and Moss to take care of them himself.
Let's hope for the former.
There's also the possibility that his resentment is high enough to actually just rat us out to him. So there's a chance that Asher, or Moss, or both, know that I survived along with Simon and everyone else. MBS and then... Sorry, go ahead.
They still don't know where my house is.
That's good. I didn't know about your house at all, actually. I had heard that you had a new home, but it wasn't until Melody told me where to go.
Yeah, makes sense.
This morning. Yeah. That's what I was saying about MBS and Ven. They went on their own to go take care of a few loose ends. That's what I was told. But as far as I know, they did regroup. And once I'm done here, I'll be headed back to the cave. Where they'll be. I can give you that location. Go ahead.
All I'm saying is that if you want to relocate, in the chance that Thayer actually did rat you out, neither Thayer, mispronounced. Either there or the two Hellions, we'll call them. None of them know where the house is. And frankly, you've seen it. It's big enough. It can hold a small militia, we'll call it.
There isn't a whole lot out here. Nobody really comes out this way. And I thought this was a good place to sit down, put up a campfire, and wait for you to come up over here. Which I will say, I did drop the letter off like 2 hours ago. But I've been living off the land, so I'm not complaining.
Well, that's what happens when you do an indirect approach, putting a letter in a mailbox. Frankly, I don't even know why I have. I don't. It's not like I have my address publicly listed.
Yeah.
But you're not the first person to use it. I got a letter actually from Cover.
He's now on board with our ideas too.
He is, yes, but he might be leaving. Not the group. Yes, the group, but also just all together.
Entirely
Here. Take a look for yourself. I don't know. Wybie
Kill the
trusts
bitch,
him.
huh? That's what he says here. And you did it.
I
You
did.
killed the bastard. And now I will kill him again. This time for good.
I mean,
We.
sure, you can get the final hit, but
I've been saving up since I wasn't the one to actually be the one to put down Sharma. And if it weren't for me, if it weren't for my stupidity back then, after we dealt with Sharma and his stupid spires, I could have stopped Asher if I knew exactly who he was. I was the first for him to talk to. And it was right as I was leaving, abandoning Marigold to go on my crusade back to New Sion. You know, along the way, that's how you and I met. And if it weren't for that meeting, I could have stopped him right there and then. So it's only fitting I stop him now.
here's an idea.
Hmm.
We still don't know where Wybie is. That being said, Asher thinks that Moss knows. So what if we hold Asher captive?
We'd need Asher first.
Right.
And is there a possibility that Moss has Wybie with him?
It's a possibility.
We can't not take measures based on possibilities. We need to know exactly where they are.
Right, but we can't deal with Moss either because we can't let that information just slip through our grasp, unable to be found ever again. We need some way of
They might need
prying
to
it
come
out
back
of
to
him.
Marigold first. Get them to think that they're safe, that they've taken
Of course,
care of the issue.
they need to come back here first, but we need to set up something that forces Moss to let that information out.
Tomorrow is the 4th. Right? September 4th. Can't believe we left at the start of August and it's now. Anyway. Tomorrow's the 4th. If they get back in time tomorrow, people can just resume about their day. That's something I was going to ask you about. Okay, quick backpedal, just to set up my question. As I was saying, when we got back, it was about evening on the 2nd. Or was it the 1st? It was the 1st, I think. Right. So September 1st, we wash up, we get to that cave, we set up shop. There leaves us. Ben and MBS go take care of their own things. Simon goes to bed. Just like anyone else would. But remember what I said about that EMP knocking him out off his feet? And, whatever else the MP did? He hasn't woken up since. He's in a coma, so to speak.
He's comatose.
The effects of the EMP plus a month without sleeping had a very concerning amount of,
Side
what I'm trying to say
effects.
here. Right. He's out of it. He won't wake up. He's breathing. He's alive. Can't wake him up. Sesby's been looking out over him, which is crazy. They don't even know who he is. But he knows who they are. And which I sure he appreciates it, So,
We'll have to figure something out.
in the case that they're... Yeah, go ahead.
If there's anyone who's capable of figuring out, but it's probably his apprentice.
I leave that in your hands then. So maybe you can help me with this next part. I mentioned the possibility that there could rat us out. We might need to relocate, even if there doesn't rat us out. He was there when we constructed it, set up a campfire, made the cave entrance a little bit more home-like. He knows where we
Right.
are. He'll easily point in the direction and we'll be found. Here's hoping that they haven't been found already while I've been away.
So are you offering, rather, not offering, are you requesting shelter?
I am. And I heard something to do with Japple.
Chapel has this place. This kind of base, I guess. You'd
So you've been there.
probably have to ask him. I have been there, yes.
Melody had not. I'd only heard that he was working on something. I didn't know if it was completed, or
Anna
if
and I
someone
have
like
been
you
there.
had seen it. Okay. And what do you think? Do you think 6 fugitives could hang out in there? 5, actually.
There's plenty of space. The only issue is how well you are with heat. There's this lava pool.
Beats living out in it on uncertainty, waiting to see if Asher and Moss do know where we are.
It's true.
The issue is that we have to move Simon. Can't walk. So we require extra care bringing him to this place. Now, I would tell you the chords of this cave home, but I'm told it's somewhere in the outskirts of Marigold, whether it's north, east, west of us. Just hopefully we can,
I
move
understand.
Simon properly. Right.
Would you rather have Simon in a place with a laboratory?
Doesn't Japple have one?
Sure. But I don't recall there might be.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if there was one within the base. With the fire pool, the lava pool there.
If you wish to take Simon off our hands and give him shelter at, I assume, your place,
Yes.
I don't see why not. It's not like he can object or anything. And I do trust you, Meridith, and I hope you trust me, as well as Simon. And I'm not asking you to trust Ven or MBS, but
I don't know how to feel about MBS. His Enderman, on the other hand, Eduardo.
he's
Trust
got
that
an
man with my
Enderman
life. He
named
does. His name is
Eduardo.
Eduardo. He's kind of short. He's capable of actually speaking. Well, not speaking, but communicating through signs. Fascinating.
I don't think MBS has mentioned that, so add it to the list of things he doesn't mention.
Yeah, well, he showed up when you guys got locked. I wonder if it has to do with the fact that you said all.
Said all? What?
You said all the Endermen disappeared, right? From
That is, yeah.
Asphodel?
Maybe he was here all along? I don't recall seeing an Enderman just hop into the portal to escape Asphodel.
Hmm.
Though I had more on my plate at that time.
Maybe he was here the entire time. Or maybe something happened to all the Endermen, and they all ended up here instead. I don't know. But I do know. He was wearing something of MB. Hat. Maybe.
Interesting. Then I'd consider him an ally if he's partnered or a lot allied with MBS. That is a good sign, even though he may be an Enderman.
Yes. Well.
Okay. So, here's what I'll say. Now that we know each other's story and where we're going from here, let's do a recap.
Okay.
Once I have the coordinates, tomorrow morning, let's say, I will mail them to you as well. And when I do relocate and find Japple and ask for shelter, I will either have Japple pass on the letter, just so I don't have to do more traveling, even though I really don't mind being out here.
Japple
You'll
doesn't know
receive.
where my place is. But I
Oh,
will say,
okay.
inside of Mojave Tower, say third base, or rather, where it toppled over. Inside, there is a little drop-off location with a flag. If you don't want to make the trek all the way over, then you can do enough.
Well, see, the thing is, I don't know who else has used this drop-off box of yours that are allied with us, but I'm also a fugitive. That means I have to get into Marigold and just hope I don't get seen. I'm sure there's a way into it. You know what? I'll figure it out. Give myself a little challenge. Beats walking out all the way over here.
I noticed, but I think there's an entrance in that.
I'll take a look. So,
Either way,
in the morning.
you have ways.
Oh, do you know where he lives? Japple.
Anna showed me, but I wouldn't trust myself to show you.
I'm not sure if I want to reveal myself to Anna or anyone else at the moment. You were just the first person on my mind. Simply because, I know you and you're YB's sibling. And JD doesn't have any family around here.
I can try to lead you.
This is quite the predicament. Can you describe the area? If it was in the path of a certain building? Maybe a starting location? And then walk in that direction.
We started over by Anna's therapy. I think. And
Would you say it was a short or a longer walk?
it was a little bit of a longer walk.
I do know the area of Marigold pretty well. Almost like the back of my hand, I did find this place. But
I feel as though I recall it being atop a hill.
surrounded by trees?
Surrounded by trees. There were these weird flying blue creatures.
Never heard of those. But okay. I think I know what area you're describing, so I'll go off based on that. And he's just got a house up there in the hills.
He does. And then a base.
His area, base, home. Okay. So in the morning, I take my little entourage with me. We go, seek out shelter with Japple. I leave you a letter in that drop-off box giving the coordinates of that cave. I may have to leave someone to be with Simon. I don't want to leave Simon alone, even if he's asleep. I'll leave somebody there. Or I may just come back once everyone's situated at Japple's place, or if we have to find somewhere else. But Japple and I do go back, so I'm sure he wouldn't turn us away at his door.
We found some of Simon's old makeshift communicators, like YB had. Maybe we could...
The one-way radio.
The one-way radio, yes. I figure maybe leaving the one that actually, conveys with you, and then the the receiving end to a couple other people.
Okay. So when I get those guys situated, I will make sure that Simon is being watched over when you take care of him. You take him back to your place, and he stays there.
Right.
I will say, and don't treat this like gossip or anything, but you may want to let Anna know about Simon when the time is right. I don't know if that's tomorrow or if it's the day after. But tomorrow morning, the 4th, you can go get him. We'll be out by then.
Great.
Just in case if you're followed, and, it'd be really awful if you were followed and then, we're still there, right?
It'd be horrible.
Glad you agree. So, I get those guys taken care of. You take care of Simon. We will wait until Asher and Moss show their face up in Marigold again. Figure out what they do with Wybie, if Wybie's out of the... That's right. I did walk through Marigold. That building I was told about. It's all gone. And that was you, right?
That was me.
And that's where Wybie was held.
And when I realized he wasn't there, guess I had a little fun.
So we're both having our fun with this. I'm glad.
I think we're well allowed some after everything.
Oh, we are. And we'll get it. So, I assume that means if Wybie were to be coming back to Marigold with Asher and Moss, make sure, hopefully, he lives and survives that trek there and back, of course.
Of course. Is that even a question?
I don't even know if I can question Asher and Moss to take care of him.
I know Asher
saw-
is fond of Wybie, but Moss apparently treats him like the reincarnation of Sharma himself.
You weren't there during the dinner. Asher stood there, and Asher chose not to kill Wybie, and instead told Moss to. And you're right about what you say. Moss was very eager to put on a whole show and a whole speech before killing Wybie. And then Asher chased JD around the table. But I hear he's in the prison.
He is in the prison.
In Sharma's old cell. And Wybie
Treating
was
them
there
both
for a
like
time
Sharma.
being. And Wybie was there for a time being. Do you think it's possible that Wybie would go there now? Now that, his other cell's gone?
Maybe. It's
I'll
possible.
keep my eyes on there. You and I can both keep our eyes on there.
We'll keep our eyes on there, and we have blueprints to
I heard.
the prison. We found them. So
I'll be honest with you, Meredith. I was losing a little hope once we had resurfaced. I wasn't sure who was left alive, who was willing to stand up and fight against those damn devils, but I'm glad you, Melody, and Zara were able to do something. Because now we'll be able to do more. We have the numbers. We just have to bide our time. We just have to bide our time and wait for our moment. And we dispose of them. And we take back Marigold.
I like
Sound
the
like
sound
a
of that.
plan?
It sounds like a plan.
Wonderful. Then my job here is done.
I guess our two little rebellions have just merged, huh?
Precisely. And we will deal with this how we will and how we do.
Through murder.
I'm glad to have... Yeah. Exactly. I'm glad to have someone like you on our side, Meredith.
There's definitely worse people I could have on my side.
Yeah, tell me about the Asphodel group. Anyway, it's getting late, but as you should know, in the morning, make sure you collect Simon.
I won't forget, and I won't put it
Right.
off until 3 days later.
Mhm. You're also carrying a lantern. Me too.
I am.
Nice.
He invited me out at dark.
Right. Well, like I said, don't go telling Anne about Simon until the right time. Maybe it's tomorrow, maybe it's in a few days, but we have to make sure Asher and Moss are able to be taken care of. And if they do something to Wybie or anyone else, that's the signal to just go all in. Okay?
Okay.
Whether or not I can see you or you can see me in plain sight, we'll know that we're going to be fighting them together. Okay? That's about all. I hope that goes well with you, Meredith. And I hope to see you again soon.
We'll see each other soon.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, right?
There's
Well,
a chance.
Maybe.
Maybe swing by that place of Jappels and I'll see you there. And you can see the others too if you wish.
Sounds good.
That is, if you see me before you see my letter.
Right.
Which I actually hope you see my letter first. That way you can prioritize getting Simon out of there. The longer he's there, the worse, right? I need him out of there.
Yeah.
And
All right.
with that, best of luck to you, Meredith. It is good seeing you again, and I'm glad we're able to work together on this.
Safe travels back to the cave.
Yep, and to you to home. We'll see each other again soon.
Yeah.
Sorry for the ominous and cryptic letter, but
Yeah, for real. You made it seem like I was going to get murdered. Not that would happen, but
not you. And I hope you not to me. So.
no.
Yeah.
I trust you enough. For now.
Yep. I'm heading back to the cave. And
Goodbye.
to go meet with the others. So, goodbye, Meredith. And good night.
Goodbye, Jay. I guess that went pretty well.